Hi, my name is Karen Mogg. I'm founder, speaker, and writer for Reflections of Hope Ministries. Here I am back out on the deck this afternoon listening to the birds chirping and the neighbors mowing their lawn. So if you hear a lawnmower in the background, that's what it is. I was looking through this book that my mother-in-law had given me. It's called Especially for Moms, and it's by Robert J. Strand. Mother's Day is right around the corner, and I was reading one of my favorite stories in the book. It's about a minister that had received a very frantic phone call from a brand new father. The father wanted the preacher to be with them, he and the doctor, as they talked with his wife, and to tell her that she had just given birth to a very beautiful, healthy baby boy. Healthy in every way except for the fact he was born without ears. He had the auditory openings and he would be able to hear sound, the doctor assured him. He just didn't have the fleshy part of the ears for cosmetic reasons. He did also assure him, though, that when the boy was fully grown, that when a donor was found, that he could have an ear transplant and at some point have ears of his own. But getting to that point was very difficult for the young guy. He would go to school and he'd come home and he'd be crying and he'd say, "I'm just a freak, I'm just a freak." That's what the kids were calling him at school. The kids taunted him and teased him and just made so much fun of him. It made it really hard for him, and it was even harder when he was in junior high, though at that point he was able to grow his hair long to cover up the holes in the side of his head, as well as wear a stocking cap. He took revenge on those kids, though, and he studied really hard and became a Class A student and decided to study geology when he went to college. He did get a phone call from his dad when he was a sophomore in college that said, "Son, we have an ear donor for you. You get ears." He was so excited, and when he went back to school as a junior, his self-esteem was even so much higher, and it kind of helped him with the girls too, because he was smiling a lot more and wasn't hiding his disfigurement. And when he graduated with honors, his parents were very proud of him, as he was of himself. And he went to the Midwest to work in a job in geology. Then a phone call came from his dad. His dad said, "Son, I need you to come right away. Your mother's had a heart attack and she's asking for you." So as soon as he could make arrangements, he got on a plane and he went to his mother's side, only to find out that she had passed away before he had gotten there. About 2 days later, he and his dad walked up to the casket in the funeral home, and they looked at his mom, and she looked so pretty lying there in her casket, and they talked about what a wonderful mother that she had been. And about that point, the dad started fiddling with the mom's hair and moved it back and showed a very well-kept secret. His mother had no ears. She had donated her ears so her son could become whole. In John 3:16, it said, "For God so loves the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." It just goes to show that the love of God is even greater than this mother's love. God gave us his Son, not just a mother's ears. I had done a little bit of research on the word mother, and in the dictionary it is listed as both a noun and a verb. Depending on what dictionary you look at, There can be as many as 990,000 words in an unabridged dictionary, and only 150 out of that close to 1,000,000 words is both listed as a noun and a verb. Not all of us were fortunate enough to have the mother that would sacrifice herself for her child. Biology doesn't make a mother any more than DNA would make a father. We have to remember in our brokenness that mother isn't always biological, and it isn't always age-specific. What we need to do is make sure that we celebrate on Mother's Day coming up all the mothers in our life, all those women who have given us hugs and wiped away tears and lifted us up to the Lord in our weirdness. God bless.